Hello, my name is That Dude in the Shades. When Al Gore and the Superhighway Summit came together and formed the Internet, they had no idea of the nightmares to come. With the invention of YouTube and streaming media, we've been flooded with crappy videos made by everyone and their mother. But amongst the garbage, a few gems still shine. And thus, it has become my duty to bring these diamonds out of the rough and into the light. So welcome, dear viewer, to the Internet Hall of Fame. Now, many of us grew up playing the original Nintendo Entertainment System and loved every second of it. I myself remember getting my first NES when I was only 4 years old. Well, our first inductee also remembers his love for the NES, as he still collects games and memorabilia from the glory days of gaming. Now he shares his love with games online by reviewing the games that lived, and in many cases, died on the old gray box. So here's a look at our first inductee into the Internet Hall of Fame, Pat Contri, also known as Pat the NES Punk. Pat Contri's love for the NES has driven him insane. One day he decided to look through his collection of over 700 games and review some of his favorites and some of the obscure games that are obscure for a reason. He risks physical and mental destruction to make these reviews shine, and not even the Rob the Robot can stop him. Pat is one reviewer that will make you go, and now, let me introduce you to our esteemed guest for this week, Pat Contri, the NES Punk. Pat, how are we doing today?
I'm hanging in there. How you doing, That Dude in the Shades?
Doing all right. Now, I got to ask you, sir, what made you decide to start doing these reviews in the first place?
Well, I'm an idiot and have too much time on my hands, but really, last year around June, the Mets were doing horribly. They still are. I'm a pitiful Mets fan. So I decided to kind of tie that in with a review of my favorite baseball game, which is Baseball Stars on the NES. So that's where it rolled from there. I did kind of like a test video, saw how it went. I got some decent feedback, and it kind of just developed from there.
Interesting. Now, obviously, being a reviewer of classic NES games, you must often get compared to other reviewers, such as the Angry Video Game Nerd. How often does that happen for you?
Well, not often anymore. When I first began, I expected it, and it came on like fast and furious. I got like hate email, maybe a death threat or two, but it was expected because the thing is that the fans are very, especially video game fans, they're very fervent and they're dedicated to the people they like, and they see anyone that comes along that's reviewing games as an affront to the person they like, and they're very defensive, which is fine. The fans are great. But I think after a few months, they kind of got used to me and realized that I had a unique spin and was doing my own thing that's kind of different from any other reviewer you see.
Indeed. Actually, it seems like your recent video actually did a bit of a parody of these other reviewers. Where did that idea spawn from?
Well, first off, I like when other reviewers try to incorporate a storyline. If you see my videos, I now heavily incorporate a storyline into my reviews. So the one thing I did notice is that other reviewers always have like a sidekick around. There's someone that just kind of shows up in a costume or out of thin air. And I always wondered, like, how can that happen in real life? Like, how would that happen or why? It's not really ever explained, so I kind of did my own little thing about, well, if it happened to me, this is how it happened. how ridiculous I kind of thought the situation was to be having this like sidekick forced upon me to help review a game. And that's really fun from there.
Indeed. By the way, did you ever get those Big Nose games back from that sneaky pirate that came by?
Give me back my Big Nose games!
No, I'm still. There's information out there leading to his arrest. There's $10,000 reward for games that are worth $10. So yes, the Big Nose games are still at large.
Now I have to ask this because it's something that's caught the back of my mind. How the hell did you survive that nightmare known as Action 52?
My name is Rob, I got a real funky concept. Listen up, cause I'm gonna keep you in step. I got an idea that I wanna share. You don't like it, so what? I don't care. I'm number one, the Uno, I like punk. Bring all the suckers, cause all of them I'll stomp. Won't neglect, but I will protect.
Faith, a couple of prayers, and a bottle of Grey Goose vodka. But seriously, it was like, it was very difficult to get through that. It was a lot of pain, very painful. It was several hours of playing through 50 games, 52 to be exact. And I don't know, it was just like, once I was 3 hours in, I wondered to myself, why am I doing this? No one's paying me to play this game or review it. But I thought it was a unique game. It was very strange. It was one of the only multi-cart games to come out that wasn't from Japan originally, with original games on it, even though they were awful. I felt like I was obligated to do it. And, so what? I foamed at the mouth. Everyone liked it, I guess.
It takes two to make a thing go right. It takes two to make it outside.
Okay, so you survived that nightmare, but let me ask, what about your sister's wrath at the end of that?
I'm gonna get in my car, I'm gonna drive up to your house, I'm gonna knock down your f***ing door, I'm gonna take your f***ing cell phone and shove it up your f***ing ass if you don't f***ing call me!
Yeah. My sister really wasn't acting there. She kind of just went with everything. I gave her a very minimal direction on that. Basically said, okay, this is what I want you to do. And that's her. That's how she really is. She's that angry. And we did about 15 takes of that. And that gives you an insight into my childhood, at least a small horror of growing up with a sister like that. Because, like I said, she really wasn't acting there.
Oh, jeez. Glad I'm not in your family. Now, you mentioned the foaming of the mouth in your Action 52 review, but you're known for quite a few interesting faces in your videos. I would say you almost look, I don't know.
What, I'm on speed? What are you trying to say there?
I'd say borderline psychotic, maybe.
I'm on some, anti-psychotic drugs, but I won't get into that now. I don't know, I'm just very expressive. I'm an outgoing guy, Knock on wood, this is how I am. And, I enjoy talking to people. I'm expressive. I don't, like, when I do these faces that show up, it's most of the time a very natural reaction. I'm not really acting. If anything, I'm kind of, just upping it a little bit. But this is me. This is who I am. Ask my friends. That's Pat. He's just a nutball sometimes, and he does some goofy stuff. So I guess that's what endears me to some of the fans, is that I am like that. I'm not like just throwing out empty emotions. Because fans can tell if you're truthful or not. And they can tell, I think, sometimes if you're acting or if you're really who you are in the video. So this is me, for better or for worse.
Well, it's definitely one of the more interesting things about you. Speaking of funny faces, how much did it hurt when you got whacked in the nads in your Golgo 13 review?
Oh yes, yeah. Thank you, Allison, if you're watching this. That was great. It was more a combination of shock and pain versus the pure pain, because we did about 7 or 8 takes of that. And Allison, my friend in the video, I was trying to show her how to really connect without connecting, and she was so scared to do it. So I think finally she was so tied up in being afraid of hurting me that she hurt me somehow. She did the exact opposite. So that was a natural reaction where it wasn't